Welcome to another episode of Truth from the Trail. I am at beautiful Penmar County Park. It's right on the border of Pennsylvania and Maryland. I actually hiked out of here a few days ago, headed south, and this time I'm going to head out of here headed north, going back to where I stayed previously at Iron Master's Mansion Hostel. It's going to take about 4 days to get there from here, and so that will be another section of the trail that I'll get behind me. It's a beautiful park, and if you're ever in this area and want to hit right here, it's a great place to come and visit. The Mason-Dixon line is close. I'll be passing that just very soon. So that's where I am. Let me share with you a story that we'll dig into and see if we can learn some truth from the trail. I'm reminded of a story that took place early in the ministry of Jesus when he was in a city called Capernaum. In Capernaum, a centurion, Roman centurion, came to him, and he said, "Lord, my servant is at home paralyzed, and he's in great pain." And so Jesus said, "Okay, well, I'll go with you and I'll heal him." And the centurion said, "No, Lord, I'm not worried to have you under my roof. If you'll just say the word, you can heal him. Because you see, I'm a man under authority, and I have a lot of soldiers under my authority. If I tell one of them to go, he goes. And if I tell him to come, he comes. And if I tell one of my servants to do this or do that, they do it because they're under authority." Well, Jesus marveled at this guy, and he turned to the followers that he had, and he said to them, "In all of Israel, I haven't seen faith like this." And then Jesus said, "There will be many from the east and from the west who will come and be with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. And there will be those here who will not. They will be cast into outer darkness where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth." Then he looked back at the centurion and he said, "Let it be done what you believe." And that very moment, his servant was healed. Our story ends there, and there's so much good stuff in this story that we could talk about, and we could try to dissect and dig out of this truth from the trail. But just a few things that I want to point out. I want us to learn a few things from the centurion. What is a centurion? Well, this was a Roman soldier who had a large group of men under his command. And he had great authority in Israel because the Romans were in charge of Israel. So the first thing we learn from him is that he was being a Roman centurion. We learn that Jesus accepted him even though he was not a Jew. Now, we've talked about that before, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. We saw it when Jesus called Matthew, the tax collector. We saw it when Jesus helped and befriended the woman caught in adultery. So a tax collector, a woman, and now a Roman soldier. It would be real easy just to camp out right there and talk about the fact that Jesus accepts all kinds of people. But we'll come back to that. Some things I learned from the Roman centurion. One, he was a person of faith. I need to be a person of faith. Jesus was amazed. He said, "In all of Israel, I haven't seen any faith like that." Now think about that statement. How do you think it made the Jews feel? They hated the Romans. How do you think they felt when Jesus said, "In all of Israel, I haven't seen faith like this"? I bet they didn't. Jesus didn't earn any friends by saying that. He didn't do anything for his popularity ratings. I need to be a person of faith. Faith is the number one way that we approach God. And in my faith, I can approach Him. So the centurion was a man of faith. He was also a man who came to Jesus humbly. He was a humble man. I don't know if you caught it in the story, but twice he called Jesus Lord. And he even said, Lord, I'm not worthy to even have you under my roof. You don't need to come. All you got to do is say the word and this servant will be healed. But don't come into my house. I'm not worthy of that. He was very humble. We talk about Jesus accepting all kinds of people. Maybe one category of person that Jesus really can't help is the arrogant, self-righteous person. And we see that a lot in the New Testament with his battles with the Pharisees. So we see that he's a man of faith. We also see that he's a man of humility. A third thing we see is that he's a man of submission. He submits to authority. He told Jesus, I'm a man of authority. That whole little dialogue there, he says, I'm a man of authority, and if I tell my soldiers do this, they'll do it, do that, they'll do it. And he got it. I think maybe people in the military understand the chain of command better than the rest of us. They get it. A private salutes a sergeant, and a sergeant salutes the colonel, and the colonel salutes the general, and they understand that chain of command. Well, this guy, with faith and humility, he understood that Jesus was at the top of that chain of command. He was the commander-in-chief, so to speak. And so he went to him with this request for his servant who was paralyzed. We don't know how he got paralyzed. It was accident or ill. We don't know. We just know that the guy was concerned about him, and his concern took him to the top of the chain of command. And he said, look, I get it. I understand authority, and you're it. The fact that he called him Lord, that word means master. Called him Lord twice. He said, you don't even need to come. You can just say the word, and it'll happen. He understood authority. He was a man of faith. He was a man of humility. He was a man of submission to authority. I need to be all those things. Now you can decide for yourself whether that applies to you, but I really need to be all of those things. Let's wrap it up with one more thought, and that's to go back to this feeling that they probably had when the Jews were listening to Jesus say, He's got it, and the people here may not. In all of Israel, I haven't come across anyone with faith like this guy. How did that make them feel? Well, Jesus complicated it a little bit more. Did you pay attention to what he said? He said there are going to be people from the east and the west sit down with the big three, with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. Who were these people from the east and the west? Well, one of them's going to be me. I believe this is a very early reference that Jesus is making, that they're going to be Gentiles, non-Jews in heaven. And he's saying it doesn't matter about your ethnicity or your nationality or your political affiliation or your religious affiliation, or none of that matters. That they're going to be people from the east and the west who are going to come together with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. And how exciting that is, that heaven is available to all of us who come to Jesus in faith and humility and submission. And then I'm sure he made some people mad when he said, there's some people right here who aren't going to make it. This was one of Jesus's very early references to a very unpopular subject nowadays, and that is hell. He said it's a place of outer darkness where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth. Just because they were Jew, just because they were of Israel, just because they were one of those great tribes, didn't mean they were going to make it unless they had faith and humility and submission. Oh, I'm going to make it. How about you? Well, I'm also going to make it on this trail here in just a few minutes, and I need to get going. I've got some miles to make, so I hope I see you next time on Truth from the Trail.